Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the vertex in Virgo in a natal chart. Now, anyway, if you have the vertex in Virgo in your natal chart, well, first thing is, well, you might be encouraged, enticed, coaxed, and even in some cases implored and begged perhaps to be more analytical, more being punctilious with details, work harder and more laboriously. You might be encouraged also to be more health conscious and also perhaps maybe required or maybe at one's request to worry a little bit more about things, which is not always bad, because there may be some things that need to be worried about that others may feel that maybe you're not really concerning yourself with, or is worrying as much as maybe you should be. So, I mean, things that might need your attention. So anyway, it's just really also perhaps you may be more encouraged to show more pragmatism and practicality, and also being able to perhaps deal with constructive criticism and even even give it out and deal with it more well. I mean, this could be where you might have to give constructive criticism where it's actually needed, and others might think that maybe you're not as critical as you should be regarding certain things in your life. Say if it's in the fifth house, it could be over matters pertaining to children and or somebody you're in a romantic relationship with. Maybe one or both those people may need to be called out on certain things, and maybe people are thinking, your friends or what have you, that you're just letting certain things slide and maybe need to be a little bit more judgmental about. Now, also with Vertex in Virgo in your natal chart, the fine print must be seen. Others may encourage you to see more of the details in certain things, and other things too. You may be encouraged to use extrapolation of data, and it could be another thing too. Like say if you have it in your fifth house, and this could be a form of enjoyment, such as projecting. Like for example, if you have Vertex and Virgo in your fifth house in your natal chart, well, it could be using extrapolation of data, or applying extrapolation of data to something that you may enjoy, or something sports related, like fantasy football could be an example for that. Now, also, it could be you might be being pulled toward being more organized, and it really show more organizational skills if you don't show them that much. Now, also to be more systematic in methodical, doing things in a more systematic and methodical fashion, I should say, and even to show more reticence and be more reticent and humble if you are not showing this. Like say if you have some if you have indicators in your chart that say that maybe you're not always so humble and so reticent, like say if you have a strong Leo influence, or say you have Aries rising, which of course could be possible with the vertex in Virgo in your natal chart. Um, something along those lines. Now, also looking at this as well, this could be, it's also important to look at the house that the vertex in Virgo is in your natal chart, as this could impact the delineation. Now, generally, the vertex will fall in either the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, or the eighth house in a natal chart. Now, let's say that you have the vertex in Virgo in the eighth house in your natal chart. This could be where you might be pulled toward perhaps some kind of astrology where you're using analytical ability and seeing a lot of being punctilious with details, or doing something with psychology that's analytical. That might look at the real analytical side of it and seeing a lot of the details as far as that goes, and also being punctilious with details with matters pertaining to taxes and insurance matters as well. let's say you have Vertex in Virgo in the 5th house in your natal chart, as I stated before, you might be drawn or pulled or encouraged to use extrapolation of data, perhaps in something enjoyable or something sports related, such as fantasy football or like a fantasy basketball or something connected with sports and things, something connected with enjoyment that you may like to do. And anyway, also, to look at this, I mean, possible repercussions one might face if they are not to follow up, perhaps on the encouragement in Virgo-like matters, which is indicated by having the vertex in Virgo. It could be feeling somewhat unproductive or incompetent, or maybe even feelings of worthlessness can set into play, so to speak. So, anyway, the thing I want to get at too, as far as this goes, is that now in synastry, the vertex conjunct one's sun, moon, or ascendant, or say in synastry, the vertex conjunct another's sun, moon, or ascendant can indicate an ordained, fated, or destined meeting. However, it may not be as instant or instantaneous, say like the south node conjunct another sun, moon, someone's south node conjunct another sun, moon, or ascendant in synastry. But at the same time, this could be rather one that might be unanticipated and unexpected, one where you don't necessarily feel that instantaneous connection, but somewhere along the line as the relationship and connection progresses, you might be like, oh, this, I can't believe it. I do feel connected with this person. It could come as more of a surprise at a later point in the relationship and the connection. So anyway, well, looking at this as well, I mean, of course, it's always important to look at things in the chart that may reaffirm, or I should say, being able to could reaffirm this energy connected with the vertex in Virgo, and being more apt to follow up on the vertex in Virgo things which are being, of course, encouraged by others. But I mean, if you have a strong Virgo influence in your chart anyway, or 6th house influence, it may be easier to follow up on what is encouraged, what others are encouraging you to do that is associated with this placement, because you already would show, I mean, if you already have an emphasis, say, in Virgo in your chart or the 6th house, it shows you could always, you already could be ingrained with a very strong work ethic, and really being able to be punctilious with details and health conscious, etc. So, but if you have if you have other things in your chart, and say you have contraindicators, let's say that you have a Pisces ascendant, and this vertex in Virgo is making an opposition to it. Well, what could happen then is, I mean, this can cause some exasperation, because Pisces rising, of course, the ascendant is about what you're projecting, your outer demeanor, and the qualities that are really readily expressed. Pisces rising can be more about, projecting a very strong relaxed nature, and one that could be a little bit lethargic and lackadaisical, and one that wants to more drift into their fantasy land as opposed to working laboriously. Now, if you're say you have vertex in Virgo in the 7th house opposite your Pisces ascendant, well, that could be a little problematic, because you might be encouraged to do things for others that are very detail related, requiring a lot of laborious Virgo-like work and a lot of that Virgo industry. But because Pisces is rising, you might have a little problem with this, because this could differ strongly from what is really connected with your outer self. Now, another thing is, I mean, looking at aspects is important as well to this. Now, I mean, let's say, for example, that you have, let's say that Mars makes an adverse aspect to your vertex in Virgo. Let's say that your Mars makes either a square, opposition, or even an inconjunct to your vertex in Virgo. Well, what this could be about others' request might cause some acrimony and really and cause some tension and exasperation and a little bit of anger on your part. You might become angry at others' requests to be doing whatever it is they're requiring you to do that's associated with the vertex in Virgo placement. So those are some things to look at as far as this goes. And I mean, if you have, say, a strong earth element in your chart, it could be easier to follow up on the vertex in Virgo, like in things that people are encouraging you to do, perhaps that are associated with the vertex in Virgo, because I mean, the earth signs, of course, are generally more detail oriented on average, and even Taurus and Capricorn is very, can be strongly connected with working, doing things connected with painstaking details that other signs won't. But if you have like a stronger influence, that if you don't, let's say you don't have, in some isolated cases, take somebody that doesn't have any planets in Earth and their ascendant in midheaven are also in non-Earth signs, well, then it might be a little bit harder because you really don't have the rest of the chart really doesn't show much pragmatism and practicality, and others might be encouraging you to show that Virgo-like and Earth-like pragmatism and practicality. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the vertex in Virgo in a natal chart. Stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about the vertex in Libra in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.